So I actually started my career in local government approximately 20 years ago, and I initially started as a trainee through Esra. At the time, I had no idea that planning would become my passion. I simply love the idea of serving the community. That early exposure, I guess, opened my eyes to how deeply planning affects people's lives. From there, I moved on to customer service and then various roles within administration planning, duty town planning, and then eventually it led me to the coordinator position that I'm in today. Visible female role models, women who need to see other women succeeding, gives you that boost. Mentorship and sponsorship is really important because it allows for doors to open, not just by giving advice. Flexible work policies, and I guess encouraging leadership at all levels, not just waiting for that title. I guess I can say mentorship has changed my life. In the organisation for 20 years, I've had multiple leaders come and go, and during that time I've had leaders who believed in me long before I actually believed in myself. They encouraged me to take on challenges, and they guided me through uncertainty, and they've reminded me that I belong in the organisation. I would say do it. It's full of opportunities. Planning offers a meaningful, community-focused work. You don't have to be perfect in the background. Many of us started at entry level, like myself, and you just gradually grow into the role, and it shapes you to be who you are today. We've got internal and external trainings. We've got leadership programs. We've also got mentorship programs. We've got opportunities for acting opportunities or stepping up in acting arrangements. We provide flexible working. We've got access to our mentors and our senior leaders, and a culture where taking initiative is encouraged. Cumberland, I guess, is committed to building an environment where women can grow confidently into their leadership roles.